Welcome back to the Bearded Breakdown. Today, the medium review. Enjoy. The Medium, a game made by Bloober Team. They also made Layers of Fear 1 and 2 and Blair Witch. So you could say that they're a great company to push the boundaries of the horror genre, one genre that has been left to the side in favor of flavor of the month, whether it be Battle Royale or maybe a popular FPS. However, some companies brave into the unknown time and time again, pushing the limits of video game technology and the stories built upon that technology. Bloober Team is one such company. As time passes, graphics in video games will improve. That's just inevitable, whether it be a pixel art game with higher resolutions or a AAA title with advanced assets and textures. The improvement is noticeable in the medium when comparing it to the Layers of Fear games the Bloober Team has already made. The emotions in the characters' faces are created in a way that invoke emotion from the player. Genuinely feeling the plight of different characters adds a new layer to the horror experience. No pun intended. Which isn't often found in video games if I'm being honest. I guess there is a difference here though. The medium is a psychological horror, so the devs have to lean into the emotions shown by the character as you encountered them. I wanted to give a shout out to the team that's involved with the items. I thought they were amazing. Whenever I picked one up I was like, wow, look at the detail. They were handcrafted, I could obviously tell that, and the textures were amazing. This also extends to the first area you explore. The apartment is riddled with personal items of the character's late father figure. It gave so much depth to the relationship they had, whether it be in family photos or personal trinkets. Each item was sculpted in a way that made those relationships feel believable. This is the strongest part of the game for me. However, there are many technical issues here which I will talk about in the how does it run section. The gameplay of horror games tends to be a fairly samey affair. The protagonist starts in a pleasant environment, think Prey, and its luxury apartment with its incredible skyline view. Then the protagonist receives some kind of mysterious message from someone they know, or sometimes someone they don't even know, who mentions a lost family member. A daughter, a cousin, a father, someone. And so your adventure begins, usually leading into a nice town and no one in their right mind would actually visit. Silent Hill. This seems like such a nice family location. So, in summary, most horror games are tropey. The medium is no different, with one exception. It really fleshes out the main character before the journey even starts, which really lends itself well to getting off on the right foot. Our character is one, for all intents and purposes, a medium, one who is able to walk the rift between life and death, helping stuck spirits pass on using special powers, a bright series of spells if you will. Expecto Patronum! Yeah, I'm a nerd, I get it. These spells, along with the ability to walk in the spirit realm, help our character to traverse obstacles she wouldn't really be able to cross, such as locked doors or missing staircases. One really interesting mechanic involved having an out-of-body experience which allows you to temporarily walk past obstacles that block you in the spirit world and the material one. The power has a limit on it however. The longer you spend in this form, the more likely you are to evaporate into the spirit realm. Or as our protagonist describes it, you simply just drift away. Puzzles you encounter during such spirit world ventures make up a lot of the medium, and although some are straightforward, others require you to think about the context of the situation you're in, and how the story might affect the puzzle you're trying to solve. It's a nice touch, Bloober Team, really. Major selling point of this particular game is the duality system, which essentially allows you to have two game worlds open at once. And it's a unique take on the genre. Even though the protagonist already seems very comfortable with this process, my mind shudders at the thought of having two worlds at once and how hard that would be to process in reality. This duality allows you to see things that you wouldn't necessarily see in the material world, and the most standout example I can think of that is memories of interactions that have already happened in a particular place. These memories cause such powerful feelings that they act as a well to restore your spirit power, resembled as parts of your spirit jacket glowing. You then use said spirit powers to power up a broken down power unit. Wow, try to say that 10 times fast. Anyways, you can also use that power to walk through a swarm of spirit-sucking moths, which I gotta say was pretty difficult for me as I'm not the biggest fan of bugs. These gameplay elements blend in well to create a unique experience that you won't really find in other games of the same genre. There are a few jump scares which I'm never fond of, but the game does well to build up the suspense as you go along in this abandoned hotel. Each room providing palpable tension, increasing in its intensity as you go along, which keeps you on your toes throughout your journey. Writing and story. Sadness. I love you and I just want to give you a hug. A stinging social commentary maybe? No. Sadness is the name of a little girl you meet early in your journey. A somewhat sprightly spirit with the propensity to fall into melancholic moments when describing the life she used to have. After the disappearance of the people at the hotel, she was all alone. As a side note, some of the members of Bloober's dev team came from another company, which were working on a game called Sadness. Unfortunately, that game never came to light, but maybe this was a way to honor the fallen project, who knows. Angeli Wall did an outstanding job at voicing Sadness, and I'm excited for her future roles. And as I mentioned earlier, the emotion portrayed in the character's mannerism and voice can really sell you on the relationships that are being built before your very eyes. And Sadness is by far my favorite character. A big part of what Marianne does as a medium is building rapport with spirits she encounters. Some spirits are easier to help than others. Almost every interaction and its writing provide an emotional impact on me as a player. I genuinely wanted to help Sadness move on. A girl devoid of friends, a safe place running away from all the nasty spirits lurking in the ominous hotel. The mannerisms in the spirits can almost make you feel on edge, twitching and pacing around almost wild in their nature. This can be a really unsettling experience as you never know what's coming next. Let's talk about Troy Baker, the man, the myth, the legend. He actually plays the villain in the medium, known as the Maw, a hulking grotesque figure of incredible strength and speed, a genderless monster stalking Marianne's every moment, creating an air of dread wherever you go, and oh boy do you know when this guy's coming. I keep having Mr. X flashbacks. Mr. Maw sprints at full speed towards you. Admittedly, I have died numerous times on the first chase sequence. It's hard, okay? Sadness and the Maw really lift the performance of everyone else around them, and it's nice to see a horror game that creates such unique relationships that clearly have an impact on you as a player. How does it run? Oh boy. I have to be honest here, the performance was a bit of a train wreck. While it does run at 4K 60 FPS occasionally, I mostly get huge frame drops, especially when the duality system kicks in. I got from hovering under 60 frames to less than 30 sometimes, and in a game where you're paying close attention to the character and particular effects, it's vitally important that the frames remain consistent. I tweaked a number of settings to try to improve this, including turning down my shadows and turning off ray tracing. I have a 3080 by the way. I completely understand that you're essentially running two games at once when this duality system is at play. And this is a first for the studio. I get that, I'm reasonable. But I'm running a 3080 and an i9 processor, really there's no reason for the game to chug as much as it does. I ended up putting my settings at high, turning off RTX, setting the shadows to low, and also turning off motion blur, because it sucks and I don't know why it's in any game. Oh, and VSync. Why not run ray tracing with DLSS, I hear you ask? Well, when I attempted to do that, it created this weird artifacting on the screen. As I moved around my camera, there were bright rainbow colored flashes. And it was like I was in the middle of a disco, and the only things around me were other disco balls. For reference, I tried all the settings, and the issue was the same. Texture pop-ins when looking at an in-game item were also a very common occurrence, pulling me out of the experience fairly often, which is a shame because the in-game items are so detailed. There really is a slew of technical hiccups here which tarnishes the game's otherwise stellar setting. I don't know whether this was just my problem or if other people had it, but I feel it's right to document it here, and then you can make your decision afterwards. Sound design. Akira Yamaoka, Akadeus Rakowski are the composers for the medium. Now let's take a listen to some recorded clips in their sound.
Oh, where is that darn notebook? I'm gonna be late. I need to find that. Marianne? Marianne, are Are you crying, my child?
It's fine, Jack.
Now, you didn't happen to see my notebook, did you, darling? My memory's a bit fuzzy. So much for aging gracefully. Where is that?
Listen, Jack. You should probably get some rest. Forget the notebook.
Oh, no. I've got so much work, my dear.
It's okay,
No,
Jack.
I can't just... What?
Let it go. It's not important.
Hi there.
Oh, hi. You startled me.
I did, didn't I? You look real scared. I'm Sadness.
Marianne. Sadness. Is that your name? I mean, you seem pretty cheerful to me.
Well, it's what I remember. My friends used to call me by a different name. But I don't remember what it was.
Your friends.
Oh yeah, I used to have a lot of friends here.
The game does a phenomenal job of setting the mood, in not only one world but two. This is a monumental achievement and incredibly difficult. There are the usual sounds you can expect from a horror game that's inspired by the Silent Hill franchise, one that is famous for its scene setting and bringing terror through an organized, carefully orchestrated symphony of musical notes. Although most of the music is pretty subtle, there are some notable set pieces that really made me sit on the edge of my seat. I touched on this briefly during the writing and story, but the voice acting was superb in most scenes, which made me eager for the next one. I'd actively go through my levels thinking, I wonder when the next scene's gonna happen. Again, Troy Baker and Angeli Wall did an excellent job and really sold me on the main cast of characters. Hey guys, thank you for sticking around to the end of the review. I really appreciate it. Now, I really enjoyed this game, although it was marred by technical issues. I hope that the devs can patch in something to fix the game, make it a bit more stable. Now, looking forward into the future, I'm sure that's what they're going to do. It is a great game, it has some really good voice acting, and I hope you enjoy it when you play it. I'm going to post my score on the next slide, so check that out. And if you haven't already, like, subscribe if you did like my video, it will really help. And I'll see you on the next breakdown. Thanks guys, see you later.